G'day punters and welcome to another edition of the Vic Preview Show. We've got a big edition, Turnbull Stakes, Group 1 racing back at headquarters. As always, today's show brought to you by punningform.com.au and also baggybet.com. If you don't have an account, download the app today and get on board with the guys. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another big week. Shane, how's your week been, mate?
All right, I'm absolutely airborne, James. I won at about 300% profit on turnover on Wednesday for the service, and I am seeing them like beach balls.
You gave
unbeatable
back today. You gave some back today.
Just two little units there at Gatton. But
have you had time to go over what we're going to preview today and make sure you've got everything spot on? You know,
I have
because just a little tip for you, the Bart Cummings is actually
2500.
2510.
I've had 8 hours to do form today because that's how long I was on the phone to Westpac for. I was on hold for 8 hours and 17 minutes. I refused to let them beat me because they disabled my access to online banking because of a couple of fraudulent looking transactions on my profile that I had done.
And they were actually your transactions?
Yes, for a company that I work for under my profile with a normal transaction that's been done every fortnight for the same amount for the last 12 months. Anyway, I got through, proved my identity, and got the job done. So Shane won, Westpac nil.
So with 8 hours of form under your belt on a Thursday, you'll be unbeatable Saturday.
Yeah, completely. On this show, I'll tip a few winners out on the service on Saturday. Get on board.
That's good. Jack, how's your week been, mate?
Dusty, slow.
You over the grand final loss yet?
Yeah, I actually am, but I'm dreading the next 2 or 3 minutes from you two pricks, not you, Gab.
When he said dusty and slow, I thought he was talking about the Swans. Sorry.
Look, yeah, it wasn't a good week. It was a great weekend on the whole, you know, grateful to be there. As you two, well, James, you've experienced. You almost did experience it again last weekend, but you didn't. And Shane, well, you haven't really experienced, but you saw it on TV once. So grateful for the opportunity to get there and be in the mix. But it's pretty flat from about, I don't know, when Tomahawk ragdolled the big fella and no one was there to stop him doing it, which was interesting because he's never done that before. I don't know how they weren't ready for it.
And Gaby, how you going? How's your week been?
Very well, thank you, actually. Very glad it's over, but excited to be really hoeing into another spring day down in Vic. I had one bet for the week, actually. Gatton today, race 1, number 1, bring me cash, and by gee, did it.
We're actually just talking about that before the show. It was
you did not make
into $4. What price did you get?
$5.50.
Hey, winner's a winner. But I know. Shout out to a few boys I know that were on it.
I did not get the 26s that were apparently there. So
yes,
they're good though. Still
late to the party, but at least I got to the party.
Shane lost that today, and you won. So well done to you.
Thank you very much.
All righty, we'll get stuck in, guys. As always, our first segment brought to you by Mailbag Bloodstock. Guys going really well. Had a runner today. A little bit disappointing on face value. We've got one tomorrow night. Keats, who's a massive chance, Jack.
Full credit to Gav and myself. I think we placed him really well. Like he's going to go around like sub $5, which will be the third time. Since we paid $25,000 for him, he's going to run around sub $10, 3 races. He's already won back what he cost us. And we're really excited to get to the races with a really nice group of owners in that horse. A lot of new people and exciting. Unfortunately, today didn't go to plan. That horse might be doing the Dunkley or the Danaher and going to Queensland, before you know.
Not a bad thing.
Just a shout out to all the Field of Roses owners. I know plenty of them will be watching. They've got plenty of cash in their pockets. I think it was a $16,000 purchase after running another seconds up to about 90,000 now for 5 runs for us with Gab.
And you, James, as well as me, know how well he's going because every time he runs, he doesn't win, but you get a lot of positivity from the bloke on your right if you're watching this, which is rare. Like even Shane loves this horse. He's been that good to us. He's easily our favourite horse, and he went really good on Sunday. I thought he was going to win for a little bit there. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, what a thrill for the owners as well, having a runner on a Group 1 day. They've purchased him at the bargain basement price, and he hasn't run a bad race yet. And they've had 5 runs into their ownership journey, and they've had a runner on a Group 1 day. So
I wasn't much of a thrill though for him, to be honest. On the Sunday, I had to drag myself there, buy Macca's, and try and perk up for a little bit. But it was.
And I saw on .com there was plenty of people wearing their freshly purchased Geelong.
Yeah, there's a lot of Geelong scarves that I reckon have been a one game of football there on Sunday. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
And look, we'll roll the video of Exeter, who is one that we've still got 10% of. So get in fast. As always, email jono at themailbag.com.au.
G'day guys, here we have Exeter, latest purchase for the Mailbag boys. He arrived at our stable 7 days ago. He's continued to please us since his arrival. Lovely and sound, loving his work, eats well, and he's just a lovely horse to have around the stable. He's a 3-time Moonee Valley winner. He's a winner of $366,000 in prize money. He's down to a rating of 77. He's Vobus and Vobus Gold, and there's going to be plenty of options for him coming up late spring, early summer period. Moonee Valley on a Friday night. Those feature sprints on those Country Cup days with Vobus Gold attached to them. There's just going to be plenty of options for him coming up. So I know there's still a little bit of availability in this horse, so get in touch with the boys. And look, if the recent purchases that they've sent me are anything to go by, he's going to be plenty of fun going forward.
Yeah, so Exeter heads to Gavin Bedgood. He's been there for maybe 2 weeks. I think Shane, there was a really nice update this morning. Gavin's really happy with him, thinks he can improve him, and we'll be aiming him kick off around the Cranbourne feature meeting, and then look to target races at Moonee Valley through the summer with him. He's got a reasonable benchmark rating that we think we can pick apart. Some good prize money races over summer. Should be well in front, sort of come February, hopefully. Shane, what do you think of that video from him?
Yeah, he's obviously got a nice ability. He's a 6-time winner. The sort of Cranbourne Moonee Valley tracks up on speed looks to his like. Obviously, the trainer that had him previously has been going through a bit of a form slump. It's fair to say, and probably some different tactics that haven't suited. So I think we'd be able to go to the right trainer to get him back to his best, and his best is a City Saturday horse. So looking forward to Gav getting the job done with him too.
So get involved, punters. Only 10% left. So email jono at themailbag.com.au with any of your questions there. He's happy to answer them and get on board the Mailbag Bloodstock train, which is finding plenty of winners for all of our owners. Now, let's get into a big Saturday racing back at headquarters. So we're at Flemington. Weather clearing here in Melbourne over the next couple of days. So I think we'll be racing on a pretty good surface. Rail is out 9 metres in from the 14 of that Sunday meeting a couple of weekends ago. But the first race we're going to have a look at is the Group 1, race 7 at Flemington. And we'll have a look at the market here, brought to you by Baggybet. Number 1, Knight's Order down from Sydney, $21. Duas, our second favourite at $4.60. Gold Trip, as you can see there, will be top odds at $3.90. Profondo getting back onto a firmer surface, could see him going better at $10. And a couple of other Sydney runners down as well. And we'll have a look at the speed map before we get into having a bit of a chat about the horses. Looks like a bit of speed on paper there with Knight's Order, Jack. How does it play out?
I think they'll jam for spots. I think Smoking Romans is just having a run. Don't know how aggressive they'll be, but Profondo gets a good run from 7. Shane's probably going to be more clued up than we are about Numerian if they roll forward from 12. Knight's Order obviously rolls across. It could be a really nice soft map for Gold Trip, or it could be a little bit tricky from 10, I thought. And there's a bunch of them like, Waller, Great House, Surefire. I think they have to go back from those draws. I don't know where Duas gets from 5, but he could be a lot closer than I've got him there.
Gaby, we'll give you first crack at him. What are your thoughts on the Group 1 Turnbull?
I think I was a little bit worried about the rail being out the 9, just with Great House. Obviously, he was probably the horse I had on top. And I'm just worried about that, him going backwards. But I think definitely he's going to run all right there. I think Gold Trip, we're going to see he's got the opportunity to show us sort of what he's made of here. We don't have any excuses of the rain or the track or anything. So I'm excited to see him race here with 54 kilos. He's dropping a massive amount of weight. Another one I wanted to mention, and I think I'm the only person in Australia who likes this horse, but Chapata, I thought he was huge last start behind Smoke and Romans, and he usually doesn't run that good at Caulfield. So I thought he put in an absolutely huge run, and he's back to where he likes to be at Flemington. And I thought just a place bet, $6.50 the place. I think that's not a bad bet with him. And he's dropping quite a bit of weight as well. But Inspirational Girl too. Are we going to see, it's her first try at the 2000, I believe. So
she's been beyond 1600 metres once, where she started real short in a good race in Perth and was, I think she ran second at 1800 metres. So, yeah, it's a bit of a question mark at 2000.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, looking forward to them and Jewess as well. I just thought Knight's Order, he just got out sprinted, didn't he, the other day, but the track may be in his favour.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the Knight's Order replay here in the Kingston town, obviously on another bog track up in Sydney. So he comes down with Allegron and Surefire as well. So there's Knight's Order bowling along in front. And he sort of did get run down that day.
And there's Benno down the outside, which would have probably started favourite or close to in the Metropolitan in Sydney, but they got his medicine wrong, so he's out. But Surefire has the SP edge over a bunch of these. Allegron is airborne like the stable is. And it goes R King. I believe that was R King. Yeah, it goes R King to Damien Oliver. So is that worth 5 or 7 or 9 lengths over 2,000 metres at Flemington?
She's slaughtered a couple the last week and a half, hasn't she?
Yeah. I think that horse is airborne and it's going to get a little suck run from Ollie on that map.
You're happy back there? Like with, you don't think it'll get caught up or anything going, probably going to go back.
Yeah, but I think with that map, he can land sort of third pair of the fence if he wanted to. And, it's Lee Oliver. He knows what he's doing, Flemington. There's a lot of horses here that, like, I'm taking on Gold Trip. It was completely blessed at Caulfield, like a great ride from Mzara. Blessed, had the race shop to bits, didn't go on with it. There's been issues with it all the way through. Is that Caulfield race going to stand up, or is the Sydney race going to stand up? I think there's question marks where they're going to get in. They're going to be 3 or 4 wide cover, or how cold they have to ride. Whereas I think Allegron, if it jumps, can be wherever Ollie wants. It's Lee Oliver. So if he jumps this horse, he might be one off.
And what do you make of sort of Gold Trip dropping back to, I think, the 54 and a halves, second run at 2,000 metres off 14 days? You're still happy to take him on, Jack, and be, as we saw earlier, baggybet.com, top price in Australia at the moment for Gold Trip?
I think it's a weak form line. I think the race out of Sydney's weak. I think the horse floated in the straight, and it may well be a really good horse, but I think it's a beautiful horse to take on for us, for me. It's Mark Zara off, J Carr on. That's a negative jockey switch, in my opinion. She's a phenomenal rider, but he's the best at the moment. And it was completely blessed last start. It's from barrier 10 here. It's no moral to get a great run here. She might well slot it in, and she does. Full credit to you, Jamie. Give her the golf balls, but don't know.
Well, let's have a look at the George Main from a couple of weeks ago, and there's another 3 Sydney horses coming down. We've got Dues, Profondo, and also Maximal. What are your thoughts on Dues, Shane?
Yeah, like it's probably on its price, I thought. It's a winning chance. It's sub $5. Couple of lead-up runs have been, what's very similar, I suppose, to last preparation. before it lobbed at Flemington over 2,000 metres and won, I think, the Australian Cup in March.
Yeah, and that was
When it
third
killed
up
them.
and sort of exploded third up in the Australian Cup, didn't she? So.
Probably worth noting too, it did have a heavy track run at Randwick over the mile before coming to Flemington to win the Australian Cup. This is a very similar profile. So yeah, it has to be a winning chance. There's probably a couple of others that won't go around as losers for me, just based on these sort of profiles and setups. I'll start with Allegron. Obviously, we've spoken about that. Horses Flying, Rachel King to D. Oliver. It was a win that says I think it can go up another level.
Yeah,
but it was very strong. Look, it did have the bridesmaid of bridesmaids, Benno, chasing it, which I don't like. It would have been the false favourite of all time in a Metropolitan, but it still would have started short, if not favourite, definitely close to. I think Surefire, Jack sort of mentioned there before, has that SP tied to horses like Knight's Order and Allegron, and it's Waller, and it's just sneaky sort of
back to a good track,
peaking.
Needs to win to get into the Caulfield Cup on a real lightweight, so they're going to be trying. Whereas some of these, it definitely isn't the grand final.
Smoking Roman's the biggest grab of all time here.
Yeah, for that reason. Probably the other one who I thought's going okay, but might just be a run behind them, just on a completely different profile, is number 14, Luncey's. I think it gets some headgear today. It comes out of a different sort of profile where it's avoided all those heavy Sydney tracks. Was an eye catcher at Newcastle in whatever race that is there. Gold Cup Day, I think Rob Scurry was on Wild Chap at about $8 that won that race, and Luncey's was come from an impossible position and got really close at the end, and it's hundreds, so I'll be having a peanut on it as well. But it'll have to step up. But if you go through some of its runs as it's got sort of up in trip and on some better tracks, I think it's better if it's more suited. But possibly a rung below these, but heaps of chances.
I think it's a great race. Like, it's a really good race where you can't sort of pan heaps. Even Chapada, Gab, he's 3 from 3 placing this track and trip, for example.
Yeah,
he just savages a line.
Like, he's always a big price, and I know he's probably a non-winner, but I definitely think this preparation, he's come back better than last prep, definitely.
I think the horse that's proper value, though, is Profondo. It started the same sort of price as Duas last start. It gets Craig Williams. It gets a very soft map. If you like the horse, we've talked about this before, Shane, you can then go deeper and justify having a really big bet at it. It's SP 460 versus Totsu this track. That's the grouse form.
There's only one thing that stays tied to Profondo, and it's trained by Richard Litt.
Yeah, but it's going to be ridden by Craig Williams from Barrier 7. It settles on speed. I reckon this track will favour horses on speed on Saturday with that rail 9 when they raced not too far out from it just a week ago, and it was bottomless.
Yeah.
I think that's the horses like Surefire that I like a little bit, and even Great House. I think it's going to hinder them. I just think this horse maps really, really softly. Perfect sort of setup for Craig. It's got this preparation. It's run behind Animo, Zaki, and Animo. Whereas we're talking about Gold Trip is ran behind Smoking Roman. That's different gravy, and I just think Profondo should be closer to Duas, and I think they're the two horses that are sort of profile to me as bets. And I'm going to steam into Profondo.
It's a great race, isn't it? Great betting race. I think Gold Trip's far too short at the moment.
Well, we'll find out, Gab, because we're going to lay it either way, but if we're still trying to lay it at $3, then it's going to be a lonely little time in the shed if it wins.
And really interesting, a lot of those Sydney horses coming off bottomless tracks the last few runs. So there's going to be a couple of them that sort of jump out the ground, and we know Profondo goes a hell of a lot better on top of it. So I think the consensus from everyone there is, maybe both the favourites are too short. And if you like anything else, it's sort of $12 plus on any of the other runners in the field. So, if you like one punters, you're going to get some value there in the Group 1 there on Saturday. Any other thoughts on the race before we move on?
If you want to back Gold Trip, download the app, baggybet.com, gamble responsibly. But if you want the best price, download the app, come have a bet.
Come over bet. Punters, we'll move on to the 25-10 metre Bart Cummings this year.
You get that, Shane?
We got the market up there from baggybet.com.au. So our favourite in the race is Interpretation at 480. And as you can see there, top of the market, baggybet.com, best price there in Australia. Shiraz 12, Vow and Declare, looks like he's back in a bit of form at $10. Desert Icon 6, Lunar Flare $9 are the other twos, and High Emotion from Kieran Maher are the others sort of in the market. We'll take a look at the speed map here. What's it telling us?
Well, I think Desert Icon's obvious speed has been dominating at the Valley. Very, very well ridden. I think Serpentine has to roll from 4. It might be getting a gear change. Yeah, Winkers, first time and crossover no spin. I still think it leads. A Royal Symphony could roll forward. Then there's sort of numbers, and I don't know where they're going to lob. I think something, therefore, will roll forward and sit closer than you think. I don't know where to map Lunar Flare. Shane will get to, yeah, but you could almost hope it's a little bit closer, but that's probably not how you should map. And then there's just a bunch of them at the back there.
So, again, it looks another good betting race. I believe you've got an opinion of one, Shane. So we'll let you kick off proceedings here for the Bart Cummings.
Oh, thanks, James. My best value bet on the card comes up in race 6, number 8, Lunar Flare. This is his class, right? So you've got the big guns going around in the Group 1. In the Turnbull, this is his go. Now, obviously, that Smoke and Romans form is well represented in the Turnbull. I had a peanut on him this day at Caulfield, and it was a classic Mick D ride. It's just like, I'll just sit here and do absolutely nothing, and I'll think about doing something when I get to the 200. The bird had well and truly flown. It was just like tactically inept is the best way to describe it. Stepping up to a more suitable trip here, I wanted to map it closer as well. But then when you dig a bit deeper, he did settle 5th in running once, and there were 6 in it. So I expect he's going to be back. All I hope is he just doesn't fall down, doesn't drop down to the fence, I should say. And then sort of like travel in behind them and have nowhere to go, and then, I'm punching holes in computer screens. So I'm happy for him to get back into his natural position, and then hopefully off the fence, and then coming with some momentum. And the 2,500 metres will obviously suit. I think this is his type of race, his class of race. This is the sort of time I'm happy to be on him in this setup for sure. $10 is a good each way price.
And Gaby, what do you think? How's this playing out?
I really like probably Vow and Declare in this race. I did like High Emotion after last start. Really, really good run. But again, I'm sort of worried about where he's going to sit from the barrier 14. He's probably going to have to go back there. But I just thought, Vow and Declare, he can sit that little bit handier. I think they're going to try that today. He's dropping a few kilos as well. I think he had 61 kilos last start. So that's a big weight to lug, and he really, really hit the line hard. I think he's well suited to Flemington. He can run well there. And as I said, I think he's probably the one to beat for me. But it's not a bad race.
He ran well. Looked like he was back to his best, and it is a free ticket into the Melbourne Cup. And I don't think he hasn't passed even though he is a past winner, he hasn't passed the ballot. So he'll definitely be there to win on Saturday. Jack, what are your thoughts?
I think this is a low race. I think whatever wins this won't win the Melbourne Cup. I'm going to take on be best price the 10 Interpretation. I reckon they don't know what's going on with this horse. Blinkers off, John Allen off, Willow on. He was not blessed, but like ridden, and like that was a good ride, and it's a good barrier for John Allen, and he's off. I'd much rather he was riding this horse, and I'd be lots more scared of it if it was. High Emotion ran past it. I think it's massively unders. Scary Camp, Scary Silks, but happy to take it on. And the other horse I'm going to take on is Dyer. I don't know how to say it.
Sweet, I think.
Dyer and Sweet Junior for the absolutely, like, completely and utterly never seen anything like this in all of my time betting. Airborne P Stokes Yard. They won again today. They're about like it's unbelievable. But J Car from 10 lacks speed, never settled forward in midfield, except when it won at Pakenham. Like, I just think it's going to be back wide in the trough. We're going to take it on too. I think the race is really, really scary. The horse I liked was the same as Shane, but I'm scared of its map. If you had to bet, and you don't ever have to bet, don't ever force a bet. Gamble responsibly. But if you want to gamble, I think the 3 Serpentine is a bet. A massive price. You're going to be blessed in run. I think it's a camp that improves them, and I think it's going to get a really soft run, and it's a nice each way bet if you need to have something on in this race.
And what about one that I liked, High Emotion? I thought it was a big price, coming out. But I know the Vow and Declare ran really well in that race a couple of weeks ago, but High Emotion up there on the speed, makes his own luck, and it didn't look like he was stopping, winning well. So, that'd be my play in the race there. We'll move on. We've got one more race to preview at Flemington, and that is the Group 2 Gilgai Stakes over 1,200 metres. Number 1, Private Eye, $9. Number 2, Baller, baggybet.com, top of the market at $9.50. We've got Rockin' Horse after a very unlucky, or maybe not unlucky, but close run last start, $7.
That translates to James was on at a good price.
Yeah, no, we definitely were on at a good price. Moving on. And the favourites, what's that? It's Our Time, $8.50. And another one that Baggybet wanted to take on is Athelric at $8. We are having a look at the speed map here. Now, 1,200 metres down the straight sometimes can be tricky to map, Jack. How have you gone mapping this one?
Camel Passer and the Astrologers, I think the likely leaders, both have really good records tracking the trip. Serious suspect thereabouts. He'll take off and be near the front at some point. I think Rockin' Horse gets a soft run, swats that. It's Our Time, soft runs. I don't know how close they get on Baller. It's Blake Shin on, Mark Zara off. We'll get to that later on. And then the rest further back. Shane, go on.
Well,
let it go.
Before Shane lets rip, let's take a look at a replay of the Bobby Lewis, because we've got a few of our runners here. Baller, Rockin' Horse, what's that? The Astrologist, and also Zutori.
Is that Baller going back to the inferior part of the track in the straight and winning?
Well, was it inferior?
Well, that's what we said when Fields of Roses was down there and got beat the other day.
It's a different meeting, isn't it? 2 months apart. It's a $21 shot, just holding on, yeah. Where next to the other horse that was right next to it in the same lane.
Well, Shane, you can take us away, because I don't think we're going to be able to hold your tongue any longer.
Complete and utter moral, Private Eye. A genuine Group 1 horse versus like Group 3 maybe Rockin' Horse, because it ran a place in a Group 1 where the winner was 100s and it was 80s and something else was 600s in that new market, which is not a race. Proper horse, Private Eye. Proper Group 1 horse. And it brings what Baller bring the other day. Group 1 Queensland form.
Have you got confused again here?
Was an absolute certainty beaten when Alligator Blood beat it in the Stradbroke.
Over 400, right? And it won the Epsom. That was over 1,600.
This has got a serious turn of foot.
This is a 1,200 metre race.
This has got a serious, and the Stradbroke was 1,400. It was a moral beat in the 1,300 before that. This horse has got a serious turn of foot, proper Group 1 turn of foot. Josh powered his truck up behind these and will let rip down the outside. I reckon it's a great each way bet.
Has he been down
I'm just going
straight
to
before?
backing the Queensland Group 1 form, and it wants to dry track.
The Queensland form's hard to knock, but it's a proper Group 1 horse over 600 metres. Other than that, it's one Queensland Group 1s, which aren't proper Group 1s, Shane. Like, let's be real.
Let's go back to that Randwick 1,300 metre run where it was unsuitable on a heavy track when Forbidden Love was completely airborne. This is a 1,200 metre bullshit race at Flemington where the fastest horse over the last 600 metres wins, and it's Private Eye.
Do you think the straight will worry him at all?
Just like that old Sydney horse's first way around Caulfield. About 1 million horses have done it and won. Same with the straight. About 1 million horses have done it and won. A horse having its first start from Hong Kong won down there last week. Now it's in the Everest.
What does that say about the Everest?
That Nature Strip's a model and no one wants to take him on. That's what it says about the Everest.
Slots available.
This is a great bet at the price. Like, what's that? Like, please. It's our time. Nonny, Wild Planet, gone. Shaquiro, gone. Zutori, like, past it. Group 3 horse.
Serious
The
stuff.
Group 3 horses. It's a bet.
It's
Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'm not knocking it. We're market or below market there. We're taking on Baller.
All right, I'm going to put myself on mute now. All the best.
Blake's Shin on for Zara, just off the SP profile. Really, I want to take it on. And Athelric, I just don't know why it's so short in the market other than the stable's airborne. Gab, are you sticking with the astrologist?
I'm not actually. I just thought I've got to keep the heart at bay this week. So yeah, I think, look, he likes it there. I just thought he'd do a little bit more last start, so I'm stepping off him. I don't know if Shane's going to disagree, probably.
Don't worry about Shane.
Yeah, don't worry about Shane.
I thought them keeping Serious Suspect, I know this is, is it a step up? Yes.
The bullshit race, apparently.
I thought them keeping him fresh isn't a bad idea. They ran pretty swift time. He did last start. So I'm not sure, like Rockin' Horses and Zutori, didn't it run second last year?
Yeah, it's a good horse down the straight.
Close behind Commentary, would that be right?
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah,
I'll back that though.
I probably and Swats that finished off well the other day, but I'll probably just back Serious Suspect each way. That'll be me.
I thought that Swats that was as good as the two winners in the other race. It was held up key stage, SP shorter than them both. So if you like it, you're listening at home, you can back it and follow your money for sure. I'm going even wider because I half agree with Shane that it's not a great race. I reckon It's Our Time's airborne. I think John Allen's a great rider for him. He'll sit midfield, he'll barge out, you get every inch out of this horse. He's flown this track and trip before, like flown. It is D. O'Brien, but you're getting a really nice price. I think it'll start sort of closer to $10 and you can back it each way all day.
Another ripping betting race.
Yeah, it is.
Cannot wait.
And what do you think happens with the market here, Jack? Do they come for any of them? I mean, I can't see a horse that that they're going to back. So I think on Saturday you're still going to get a price whatever you want to.
Well, his chest is still puffed up, but I actually thought they might come for Private Eye because it's a fresh Queensland horse, which is the setup that's been.
We will be coming for it here. Don't worry about that.
Which is the setup that's been proven to be pretty deadly so far in the spring. I reckon they'll line up one of them like the astrologist, Serious Suspect, Camel Pastor, Rockin' Horse, the track and trip sort of specialist. And I don't think Swats that drifts too hard. If it does, it won't win. But second go now, 1,200. I think they'll like that. I think they're the sort of ones I'll come for. I think Baller drifts and Athelric drifts, and hence I'm trying to line. So if you want to back Baller, or if you want to back Athelric, download the app, gamble responsibly, but will be best price for a fair while.
But it sounds like everyone listening to this show is just following Shane's lead and chips in on a moral. He's declared a $9 moral on the show today here, punners.
How many scoops is that?
That's why you've got to.
I just like backing Group 1 horses in Group 2 races, mate. That's just a cross I bear.
And that's why you need to subscribe, and get around. So as soon as this show is posted on a Thursday evening, you can get that $9 because by the sounds of things, it's not going to be around for very long. Any last thoughts on the Group 2 down the straight before we move on to one race in Sydney?
Not for me.
I have one last thought.
Yeah.
The most impressive winner down the straight on Saturday won't be in that race.
Yeah, good call.
which I think we'll get to a little bit later, won't we?
Maybe.
He's letting himself into his own
Leading
work.
into that one.
Like he got the shits when you let him into his own work. Now he's doing it for himself.
Anyway, don't worry about me. Let's just play on. Where we go next?
Anyway, we'll move on to the big Group 1 up at Randwick, the Epsom Mile Race 8 on the Randwick card. We've got we'll have a look at the prices first. And let me just pull them up in front of me here.
A little bit outside the circle, this, but Gab's best bet's here, so we thought we'd quickly look at the race.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the race. We'll let Gaby take the floor in a minute. We've got Hinged at $4.40, and that's Baggy Bet at top odds. Top Rank at the top of the market there at $4.60. Sorry, Ice Bath is our $3.80 favourite. Crosstalk $7.50, and then sort of write your own price for the rest. What's the speed map tell us here, Jack?
I haven't done a speed map for this race. I don't.
No speed map. Sorry.
I think. I can throw in a few. I think Ellsberg probably going to go forward with Crosstalk, I'd imagine. Hinge sat really handy the other day, so I'm not sure exactly how handy they're going to go with her. She did run on all right after that. So, and potentially War Eternal, I believe. And yeah.
And I believe you're pretty keen on one here, Gab.
Yeah, I've made Hinge my best of the day actually, which I just think she's found a really, really winnable race here, and she's just clicked over to become favourite, but it doesn't bother me because I was happy to be on early there. I think her last start, great run behind Animo, just obviously a form line I like to follow. And she's dropping, I think, 6 kilos here around about. So she's going to get another nice run. Kieran McAvoy to ride, which is just great. And, I think she may just get the better of Ice Bath. And I'm not going to say too much about the others, but I definitely think she can win here in Sydney.
And Jack,
turn Bro's fortunes around. He's in transit as we speak.
And Jack, why are you keen? Why is Baggy top odds on Hinge? Why are you keen to take him on the day?
I just don't think it's that good. I don't like the map. I hate Kieran McAvoy in big races. I have an opinion, and that's the one I'm going to have. I'm going to take on Top Rank. I think everyone's talking about just to make content, because this is a disgraceful edition of the Epsom.
Yeah,
and they're forcing narrative around Top Rank didn't SP near SP $7 something last start. No one thought it was any good then. Now it's the best horse in Australia, please. Happy to take it on. And
Jack obviously didn't do any form for this race. He's betting off narrative, is he?
No, I'm laying narrative, and I've done a little bit of form. I think Ice Bath's the Group 1 horse of the race, and they tell me it's going to rain and rain and rain. My old man says it's going to rain. Roden says it's going to rain. And Fangirl I like as well, because it's SP sort of single figures versus Animo. That's proper form. And I think it'll improve. It's classic Waller, Shane. It's got this great SP profile against the best horse in Australia, and it hasn't lived up to the hype for 2 runs, so everyone will drop off when probably not even trying. Now here we go, bang. And everyone will go, it was no good for 2 starts, and how to do that? Because it's Uncle Chris, and he's the best.
Yeah, Animo's been in 2 complete walker races in its first 2 runs this prep, complete walking races. And only did enough the last sort of 200 and 400 in both its wins. And I think there's some horses that are flattered, particularly Ice Bath's last start run, when it looked like it got close, and the same with the Zaki run. I thought that Top Ranked is the X-Factor horse, not necessarily just this race either. I think it's a horse that can go to another level Australia-wide. I don't know that I'll join in the chorus with the part owner who has nothing but self-interest in saying it's the best horse in Australia.
What?
But it's certainly ready to go to a new level, and I think it gets there this week. I think Rachel with 51 on Crosstalk's a beautiful setup for good tempo, and I reckon Huey just drops in a perfect slot, in a perfect stalking position, and gets to the right part of the track in the straight first. And then it'll be a matter of whether horses like Hinged, who is unsuited, gets K-Mac, which is negative in my opinion, and has a tricky map. The only thing they could do on Hinged, if the map is against it and it's not its turn this week, is go forward and, ensure a better tempo for horses like Kiku and Fangirl. And like Kiku is, was pretty dominant the other day, the way it won. It's a matter of whose turn in that camp. Like, let's just call it how you see it. That's like if they got three in the race, all three don't hit the line together. I just think the best setup is Top Ranked, and I think it's the horse out of all of these that can go to another level on what it's done. Lightly raced too in Australia, obviously. Length and a half behind, very elegant over this trip, this track, out for a break. And then its run last week I thought was excellent, and it's ready to go to another level.
Which do you think starts favourite? Was at the start of the week it was Ice Bath, right now it's Hinged. You think you land Top Ranked?
Yeah,
I think Hinge does. I think just the way it's going, it does.
I don't know.
Top Rank stays at he's pretty good at 450. Like, pretty stable there.
I don't know what the market does here, but I suppose the market gravitates towards the Animo form. That's what I'm thinking it does.
I just like Fangirl because, like, the last time Ice Bath, Hinge, Fangirl and Converge raced against each other last time, and Hinge started at $10, Ice Bath started at $13, and Fangirl started $6.50. And that's the Animo form, and that's the form I'm going to go with. I can see the very elegant form, unless she wasn't good enough to get into an arc, Shane. But back then she was airborne. That is like a fair argument to make about Top Rank.
Yeah.
I did see that. That was a very interesting tweet. I think it was today saying, that Top Rank is the best horse in Australia. If he's the best horse in Australia, this is the weakest edition of the Epsom that I can remember.
The market's telling you there's not, because if Animo was in this race, it'd be $1.40.
Yeah.
In fairness, the owner did say it's the best horse in Australia. That's wasn't the trainer or anything; it was the owner.
For what it's worth, for me, I like Nimmerley. I don't think there should be that much of a difference in Ice Bath and Nimmerley, so I'm happy to play each way on it. Any more thoughts on the Epsom before we move into our best and value and wrap things up for the night? Righty, we will move on. We do have our best bets. Shane, I believe you did try and lead a horse to water with this one literally earlier. Tell us why Giga Kick will be winning.
It was dominant last time. Let me just bring up the reasons here. What race is it? Race 5.
Flemington race 5, number 3, Giga Kick.
Yeah.
Beating.
Look, it's short enough now. Wouldn't mind a ticket at $2.25 because it'll start shorter than $1.95, I reckon. Obviously pretty dominant the way that it won at Caulfield and has won down the straight here. But I thought that Caulfield win was it beat the pattern and sustained a pretty strong run and beat a couple of horses that were going well at the time. And I don't mind the way this horse has been handled. Like, gets here now and it's another race where it's showed a bit and they've hang on, we've got to reassess here because we're a Coolmore.
Yeah.
Yes. So they've had to give him a little bit of a break and bring him back. And I like the fact that they didn't go to 1,200. I think the 1,100 is perfect off that little break, rather than sort of like a stronger test at 12. So I think it wins this, and I think it goes on to a race like the Coolmore where a genuine chance. Obviously, some of these have shown a little bit. Swiss Exile's been around a bit, had a Queensland campaign. Which is, strong form, of course. We keep carrying on about that. But it's got the rest covered, and I just think it's better than him. And I think we'll see that. I think we'll see this horse stamp itself as the exciting prospect out of the meeting.
Very nice. So we've got race 5 at number 3, Giga Kick, as Shane's best of the day. My best of the day comes up in race 2, nice and early, Visionary. Shane threw the word moral around earlier. I'm declaring this thing immoral. Multi multi it with Giga Kick and give yourself a little bit extra. But race 2, number 7, Visionari will be winning. Gaby, I think we've spoken enough about your best bet, Hinged. Both the boys had a few knocks on it, but you're sticking firm there with Hinged as best of the weekend up in the Epsom. And Jack, what's coming up in the 8th? It's our time.
I have to pivot a little bit here. I'll definitely be having something on the Giga Kick Visionary Aula, but I didn't want to give the viewers the same horses. So I think It's Our Time's a really easy bet to have each way. John Allen Suits loves straight, which I value horses that like the straight.
Very nice. There's our best of the weekend. Now for a bit of flair and some value for the punters out there.
Any catalyst gear this week, mate?
No, actually, I was meant to bring that up. I obviously wasn't on the show last week. I was 25 beers deep at a wedding on Thursday, and I did watch the show on Friday, and my best bet was the only winner. And when and my value bet got scoffed at with Catalyst. I mean, I know we didn't collect the cash, but he was huge running there at Sandown on Sunday. So I just wanted to give you 3 a whack anyway.
I'll be on him next start, definitely.
Yeah, mate.
He was a very good run. So back to our value. Shane, you have mentioned it earlier, but doing a flair, good price.
Yeah, in what's a very limited race for a Melbourne Cup golden ticket thing. If you win, you're in. Limited. Back in its right grade each way bet. Go Mick D.
Go Mick D. Jesus, you're pinning your hopes on Mick D. You're in a bit of strife. Anyway, my value of the day there at Flemington comes up in the big one in race 7, and that is Maximal.
It's been backed, nibbled.
Yeah, been nibbled, and I think I've said it before. I like those horses campaigning in Brisbane. He did run past Zaki in the Doomben Cup, and he was a big run there. And I just think, like we've spoken about, those 2 favourites are a little short, so looking for some value there in the Turnbull Stakes. And Gaby, your value for the day, please.
Yeah, race 7, number 9, Chapada. His last run, as mentioned, was a big green flag for me there at Caulfield. Finished really well. He's dropping quite a few kilos here. I won't do any quick maths on here, but I think he's more suited to Flemington, as said earlier, and I think the $6.50 a place is quite good. I think the race will also map well for him because he can sit that little bit handier.
Yeah, and I'm with Profondo as my value. I think it's double figures is a stupid price for it. I also just got the message here. Rob Scurry's Mounting Our Mail is absolutely airborne, and if you like betting in Sydney and you want your handheld just a little bit, in September, 114.26 units out, 151.48 back. He is a freak. I don't know how he does it. He's a unique operator, but it's obviously working for him and anyone buying it. So head to the mailbag.com.au if you want to bet his stuff live from the yard.
And I think he's seen these wet tracks really well. I mean, he's having a few bets in each race, and they're all just running outstanding. So, I know a lot of the subs that buy his stuff. Rob has started sending out a few flary exactas, but a lot of his subs bet the Quinellas exactas and trifectas, and his numbers are always in the money. So, as always, guys, get around the Mailbag app. Big time of the year, so get that vital piece of information a couple of minutes before the race to either double down on your bet or lay a little bit off if the yard guys aren't keen on it. That's it for today. Any final words, Shane? First, obviously talking Mailbag app. Where is the full Curly betting this weekend?
Where isn't it betting?
Yeah.
Who's going to win the rugby league?
It's always easier.
Saturday is Eagle Farm, Gold Coast, and Toowoomba, actually. So that'll be fun. Betting from about what time do we kick off Saturday? About 11. What time they start in Sydney? About 10:30. And so I'll be betting Scurry stuff at 10:30, and then the last at Toowoomba at some ungodly hour, about 9-ish. So yeah, it's 11 hours on the Mailbag app this Saturday.
There's nothing better than a big Saturday and then backing a couple of Shanes at Toowoomba to really top off your day. And Gaby, where will you be? Will you be watching the races this weekend?
Not 100% where I'll be watching them, but I will be watching them and, yeah, having a bet at Eagle Farm as well, and might drop a line into Toowoomba if I'm...
There is one good thing at Eagle Farm in race 3, plundering or win.
I actually don't mind Northern Express in race 6. I think...
what price is that? $6.
Exo Lady's out, so she was probably my main concern there.
Righto.
We've been hijacked with the Queensland form.
Sorry, guys.
Been hijacked with the Queensland tips to end the show.
I'll be cheering on Para as well.
Para.
To beat Penrith.
Penrith with an F.
Beat the Riff. They look morals to me. As always, guys, today's show brought to you by puntingform.com.au. It's what all the Mailbag boys use to do all their form, and they have all been on fire. So download the Mailbag app. Get involved today. Thanks, Jack and baggybet.com. As you've seen, where Jack's happy to be top price on a few. He's going at about 75%. So you probably
I think you're being generous there. Like I laid Coolangatta today, and it was never ever. No, I laid Coolangatta last Friday night, and it was never ever losing. I laid Greece today, and it was never ever losing. And it hurt even more to hear the dulcet tones of Terence Bailey. Just like he declared it about the 500. Anyway, we'll keep trying.
If you haven't, download the Baggy Bet app. Get involved. You see the top price there for a few runners. As always, gamble responsibly, and we'll see you all again next week.